Hi folks, this is Lynn, and I made a short video about Mercedes 240D hard starting, and it really applies to the 5-cylinder, turbo, non-turbo. They may have the same problem, and I thought I'd make a better video, not only hard starting but maintenance of the fuel injection pump. I talked about the valves, check valves, and the lift pump leaking. This is the Mercedes pump that lifts the fuel into the fuel injection pump. And down underneath this fitting and under that fitting, you take these nuts off, this fitting's off, and there's a valve down in there, a check valve and another check valve. And my problem was that there's fuel running in there that's dirty because there's no filter before it gets to that pump. And so debris can get under there, and the fuel holds the check valve open and the fuel drains off overnight, and then you got to crank the fuel up again. The other problem is, I guess, this manual pump can go bad. However, that's probably a pretty rare occasion. And then they talk about changing the oil in this injection pump. Well, my owner's manual doesn't say anything about it, but I've talked to some guys and they say, well, it ought to be changed when you change the oil in your crankcase in your engine. Well, that's not going to happen. It's when this pump is down in the engine, and I'll show you the engine bay, it's next to impossible to get this plug out. And there's the plug that is the level plug. And so that is really hard to get to, time consuming, and you're supposed to take this cap off, fill it until the oil runs out of here. Same oil as in your crankcase, like mine, it's like 1540. Well, there is no drain down below here unless you took the pump off and took the bottom off. There's no drain. So how do you get the old oil out of there? Well, if you've got one of these vacuum pumps, you can stick the hose down in there and suck it out. You can't use this size hose. You got to go down to like wiper vacuum hose to get it small enough to fit down into the bottom and suck the old oil out, and then you can fill it back up, and it takes about 250 to 300 milliliters, between 5 and 6 ounces of oil, and then just check it every once in a while. So I'm not gonna fight it. I changed that plug, and I'll try to show you on my Mercedes. I changed that plug and put a fuel nipple on it, and then a rubber stopper, so I can just pull it off, check the oil, and stick it back on. So instead of taking an hour to do this job, it takes just a few minutes. So we'll walk over to the Mercedes and take a look. Here's my Volvo. You've maybe seen the video on that, but here's my 240D. And let me see. Okay, see the red knob? That's the fill deal for the injection pump. And over here, there's the knob, the manual pump, and there you see the two fittings, and I've got plugs on them because I bypassed that lift pump altogether, and I found that that just eliminated some problems. I just went and put an electric fuel pump on that line, and then I mounted a pre-filter in line. Mine didn't have one, and so it filters the picks up a pre-filter, filters it, then it goes around and gets into the main filter, which is right there. And I realized this, you can't see too well, and that's why I showed you that other injection pump that I got for parts. So there you have it. The other thing with the electric pump, you know, if you ever run out of fuel, it can be a problem pumping up the fuel. Now, you know, the pump's running all the time. So if I run out of fuel, it fills it right back up and away you go. So it just eliminated a lot of problems. Electric fuel pumps are cheap. I got the one on eBay for $8, free shipping. So it only takes it's a universal pump. 3 to 5 pounds is all you need. You don't need a lot of pressure. Just get the fuel up to the injection pump and it'll take over. So that's what I've done. Hopefully this is helpful, gives you some ideas. And so there you have it. So remember to learn to take care of that oil in the injection pump, and to remember to check those check valves if you're having problems with it starting in like overnight or even shorter. If it's got an air leak anywhere, it'll suck air into the system and the fuel will run back to the tank. So if you got to get up and you got to crank it a long time to start it, it's because it can be because it's getting air in the system and the fuel's running back to the tank. And so this is one way to solve it. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope this helps somebody.